You cannot afford to miss a single moment of the next hour. Get ready to have your ideas about sexuality, love, and relationships blown wide open. It's time to get educated, entertained, and enlightened, as well as sexually empowered. You have now tuned into the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show. Now, here's your host, Tanya Diamond.
Hello, and I'm so glad to be back. I don't know if you missed me or not, but last week was a repeat, and probably great because a lot of you probably hadn't heard that one. I don't know which one it was. Does anybody remember? I'm sure it was brilliant, though, and lots of fun. Back from Experts Academy in San Francisco. And, of course, I have Josh with me here, too. So
good evening, everyone.
There's Josh with that voice, that Josh voice.
That's why I'm here.
That's right. He's just here for that. And anyway, I went to Experts Academy in San Francisco, put on by Brendan Bouchard, and I got to sit 10 feet away from Tony Robbins while he gave us a speech. You know, and Tony usually doesn't speak except when he's filling a stadium for $1 million a day. And there were only a small group of 400 of us at this this hotel. And Brendan Bouchard managed to bring Tony Robbins to us 4 hours. I was 10 feet away from him.
What a rare gift.
I know. It was amazing. And he did not his usual talk, but the talk was about building his empire, where he started and how he got where he was today. It was a fascinating story. And, of course, he's such an incredibly powerful man. And man being the operative word. Definitely a warrior.
He kind of shows up.
Yeah, he does show up for sure. It was, it was brilliant. We also got to hear from John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And he was very fascinating as well because I didn't know he had studied with the Maharishi he was a celibate monk for 9 years before he went into becoming a relationship expert. Interesting, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And so apparently one of the great minds of meditation, actually his mind had been studied, his brainwaves studied, and apparently one of the great minds of meditation in TM. That's pretty fascinating stuff. That was me drinking water, in case you wondered.
Where'd you go?
Where'd you go? It was 4 intense days of 14 hours a day of just all this incredible knowledge about writing and, doing seminars and workshops and coaching. And I came out of there just, on fire. And, of course, got very well known very quickly.
Yeah, you kind of get up on stage like that.
I do. When they ask for volunteers, my hand is usually up. And I was up on stage there with Mike Koenigs, who is the founder of Traffic Geyser, one of the most talented online guys, on internet guys today. And it was quite funny because he didn't know who I was and everybody else did at that point. But when he caught me up on stage and he said, "Go ahead and introduce yourself," all I did was turn to the audience and spread my arms, and the whole place went crazy.
They all went crazy.
And he's like, "What are you, some kind of rock star?"
Yes, she is.
No, actually, better than that. I'm a sexual intimacy expert. That's right. He asked me what the number one question I get asked is.
The number one question.
The number one question. And the number one question I get asked is, how long as a man do I need to last?
How long do I need to last?
Now, is that how long do you need to last as a man? Or is that, hopefully...
Is that in an intimate way or a holistic way?
That's right, yeah. How long do I need to be a man?
Gives a whole new meaning to loaded question.
Exactly, right.
Yes.
There you go. Nice one.
How long do I need to last?
And, of course, the entire place went silent.
They need to know.
As they waited for my answer. You could hear a pin drop there.
Oh, everyone, man and woman, just wanted to
know. They were just waiting. And, of course, they knew me to be pretty outrageous. This is day 3 of the conference. And I said, never as long as you think you should.
Ooh.
Yeah, the place kind of went crazy.
They went nuts.
Even the men were clapping. I'm not quite sure why. Why were the men clapping?
They were confused.
Oh, they were just clapping.
They were caught up in the moment.
They were clapping because the women were clapping?
You gave a beautiful, it's that beautiful answer from the master type of answer where I still have no clue what you mean,
right.
But I loved it, and it was so you.
She spoke. Anyway, it was funny. Men came up to me afterwards and actually were saying, what they said was, "Thank you so much for saying that, because, oh my God, that actually gives me permission to not be in my head thinking, oh my God, I'm not lasting long enough.
Right.
So,
Right.
But there were other questions to that. And that brings us today to answering some questions I've been getting in email.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just go straight into that subject, which of course is every man's worry, which is premature ejaculation.
Yes.
Is that every man's worry?
Well, that all depends.
I don't think it's a worry as it is a circumstance.
A circumstance. A circumstance. I know that certainly, yeah, I mean, obviously, how long do I need to last? That's the number one question I get. Right. So this is obviously on a lot of men's minds.
And it depends on what you consider premature. I mean, if, 10.5 seconds is considered premature.
Well, so what is premature? I mean, what is? How long do men need to last? Most men, I mean,
here's the dilemma. As a man, we're so worked up by the time we actually get to that place where we're being touched or actually are within our beloved, and it feels so incredible and we're so aroused. It's like, the moment we're engaged, we're hoping, how do I slow this down? How do I back myself from that 9.8? I'm already there. And so premature is just how so many men are in that state. So how long do I think? What's premature?
Well, yeah, I mean, what are men lasting for?
Oh, the hope that I can, at least last 10 to 20 minutes so that I can be the porn star for my lover.
10 to 20 minutes.
That would be my dream. Actually, with some of my homework lately, but that's another radio show.
Well, the average man lasts 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
So that's average, 2 to 3 minutes.
Right.
And most women I know say, thank God.
Really?
Yeah. Why is that?
Too much pounding.
Well, there's that, right? But why? So we still haven't answered why. Why do men want to be the porn star? Why do they want to last that long? What are they hoping to achieve by lasting that long?
It's the illusion of what our lover wants. We don't know what our lover wants. Who actually talks about what can I do that will be the most exciting for you?
I know men's focus on the whole entry is like, that's, of course, that's the good part for the men.
Right. But what is it for the woman?
Well, first of all, most men tell me they're lasting long enough for her to have an orgasm.
Okay.
There's an inherent problem with that.
Expectation.
Well, 87% of women don't climax through intercourse.
Right. So 87% are faking it?
Well.
Or suffering.
Even more so, if you consider that it's 87%, that would make it normal to not climax during intercourse.
Oh, okay.
Really?
So the expectation to last forever until she does is just a non-point.
Right.
Oh.
It's kind of a sad thing. I mean, because really the porn starlets, we call them porn starlets.
Porn starlets, because we're not actually making it.
The porn starlets are actually not even aroused. I mean, if you know anatomy at all, and if you know what an engorged yoni would actually look like, you would understand that there's no arousal there at all.
Every time you talk about an engorged yoni, I just have difficulty.
Sorry, take a moment, take a breath.
I need some water.
You just take a breath over there. Everybody's having a moment. So I'm wondering, though, if the 87% that is considered normal now of women that don't climax during intercourse, I wonder if that's really normal or if that's just what's happened in our society. Meaning that, so I believe, and I've read studies about this, that most were actually always turned on. That their chemistry is always in a turned on state, but that society, everything that we're going through now has distracted us.
Right, we're so in our minds that we're not in our bodies.
Right, distracted us from our experience and our feelings. And so I'm wondering if way back when, way back when, caveman kind of days, I wonder if that wasn't the case. Mm-hmm. It seems kind of a silly design, how we're designed to not have an orgasm when orgasms also help the sperm and the pH and everything else for procreation. You're more likely to get pregnant if you have an orgasm. So if that's the evolutionary design, I wonder what's happened. Something's gone awry. Because men lasting more than 2 or 3 minutes is normal. That's normal, 2 to 3 minutes.
2 to 3 minutes, right.
So somewhere along the line, evolutionarily, women must have had orgasms in 2 to 3 minutes. See what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
it seems to make sense. So what happened? That's what I want to know. What happened? I mean, my theory is, of course, we're not aroused anymore.
Right.
I said once that if most women are idling right now, so going about their normal day at a -10 on a scale of 100, 100 being climaxing, and we're wandering around at a -10.
Tragic.
It is tragic. It's going to take a long time to get to that 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
Especially when most men, I think, don't have a clue how to hold that presence. They think, get to the bedroom and let's go for it.
Right. Well, everybody's tired or whatever. You've tumbled into bed usually when you're tired.
Mm-hmm.
We got the kids, now whatever, we've got all that stuff going on and still in the heads from the day and that type of thing. And it might be like, well, we got that button pushing sex happening. That I can get you off. Now, most women can climax on their own in I think I read it was 90 seconds.
90 seconds.
Right.
Okay.
Now, that's sexual tension release for the most part. But 90 seconds. So then that correlates, right, with that 2 to 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But not, so that's what they're pushing themselves to, with their partner, trying to get it done in under 5 minutes so then they can get on to the intercourse part. We're bankrupt in the bedroom, Joshua.
That's not gratification.
No.
People
are not having a good time out there.
And opening up a line of credit right now is not a good idea.
No. That was tricky. I have a Premature Ejaculation ebook.
You do?
I do. You haven't read it?
I've been told all about it.
I have a Premature Ejaculation ebook. It's called You've Been Lied to About Premature Ejaculation. It's quite a little spiffy title there, isn't it?
I love that title.
I
it's been part of my homework. Even though I haven't read it, I've had people telling me about it.
Telling you about it, right.
We'll talk about my homework later.
Exactly. And I just got an email here from from a gentleman who purchased that off my website. And he says, hello again, Tanya. I just finished your ebook, and it's awesome. I had results immediately. Wow.
I love immediate results.
I know. How cool
as a guy, that's what we want.
Right.
We always want immediate gratification of any sort.
Right. And this man is a virgin. He's early. Yeah, I know. Nobody dropped their cups there. Early 20s. And he is actually, I love this guy because he's getting ready as he goes to college to have a lover one day. And he's actually prepping beforehand.
I am so proud of him.
Isn't that awesome?
I am so proud of him.
He's getting all this education, and he's reading everything I put out, and he's buying all my products, and he's, asking questions and wanting to know the answers to this so that he's prepared.
Well, it's not just being a prepared lover, but with some of the other literature that's out there to, become the masterful lover. Ethics, integrity, and compassion are all part of lovemaking, are all part of being a lover. So really, I'm so glad that he's found you as a resource.
Well, not me, personally.
Well, your website.
My information.
Your information. I found you as a resource. But I commend him. Kudos.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so he's there. He's got the book. He's asking questions. He's right on track, doing amazing things. I'm going to have to change his languaging a little because, like he said, am I supposed to reach level 8, level 9 just by rubbing my thing? And I'm going to empower him to use the word Vajra or lingam here, and he hasn't read my word verbiage yet.
Right. Got to read the definitions. Vajra.
Vajra.
Yeah.
The wand of light. But I'm really, really proud of him. He's doing amazing results, and I'm really, really enjoying his emails as he progresses along and tells me all about it. And, so, way to go if you're listening to me. Congratulations. You probably know who you are. There's a couple, but, this guy in particular will know who he is. He asked me if when he was doing his homework from the P-book, is it okay to ejaculate after he reached his time goal? So he set a goal. This is a little ways into it. He's been doing it a while at this point. And he just now set a goal of an hour, and he managed to do it at 8s and 9s.
Wow.
That's impressive.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, that's very impressive. And I think that's only been about, if I look at the date here, I'm thinking it's probably only 6 weeks into it.
6 weeks into it?
Yeah.
My arm would get awfully tired.
He's not doing anything else right now, I think.
Okay.
Just, it's summertime.
He's working out.
Waiting for college, working out. And he said then he challenged himself by doing some 9s and 9.5.
Excellent.
But he climaxed in 5 minutes. So he wants to know if it's okay to ejaculate at the end of this, or does that step back in his progress? And what I said was that ejaculation mastery is about conscious ejaculating. So if you set that goal, I'm going to do it for this long, and then I'm going to go ahead and ejaculate at the end instead of pull that energy in and maybe try for the full body orgasm, I would say that's fine. But you've been doing some experimenting with holding energy. And what would you like to say to address that?
What I'd like to say is that the power in being a man is really harnessing our own power. So, for example, the tradition that what some guys do, what I have done a few times in my youth, is before going out on a date with someone that I was really excited by, I would go ahead and
spank the monkey.
Spank the monkey.
Oh my gosh.
Shake the tree. And take care of myself before going on the date.
So horrible to do.
I know. Why?
Well, because it totally takes all your vitality away, and you're just this like limp noodle, literally, not just
And even if I have a power drink, roll out of the house, and I'm awake and alert, I'm not turned on.
Right.
The lights are not on.
Yeah.
I'm not in that amped state, hyper aware of what she's doing, what she's smelling like, what she's looking like. I'm not in the zone. And so, if I'm going out on a date, I want to be in the zone. The excitement I'm getting, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I'm going to get to hug her. I'm going to get to touch her. I'm going to get to eat food with her. And if you know me, that's
a big deal. Eating food with Josh was.
I love eating food with a woman. It's just exceptional. That's another show. To hold your presence, to hold your energy is so powerful. Okay, this particular patron of the Learning Tantra website is wondering, should I hold it? And think of it in terms of dispersing it through your body rather than holding it. Because there's two sides to this. Of what's important to me is my sexual energy no longer rules me. I'm not going crazy having to ejaculate. If I'm with a lover, what does that mean? The pressure for her to please me, or the pressure for me to get off before we can go to bed, is gone.
Yep.
And I've had people be in such gratitude. I've had women be in such gratitude.
I was going to say people.
People. Let me refine that. My lover has been in such gratitude.
Oh, the people all around Josh.
Right. People are so happy around me that I'm no longer
pushing his sexuality on them.
Right. When my lover is done, when she is ready to sleep, ready to rest, has had too much, whatever it is, she's done. And there's no worry about, Josh, how are you? Are you okay? Because she knows I haven't ejaculated. And I'm like, oh, I am so okay. She's like, are you sure? Really? I am content.
Men all over the world are just going, whatever,
how is that
buddy,
possible?
I don't get that. It's like, what's up with you?
The freedom that I've been able to channel that energy to the rest of my body has been such freedom. I mean, I was at 13 years old, I was just driven insane by my own sexual energy, saying to myself, God, I wish I could control this. And I couldn't. And to finally learn about ejaculation mastery, to finally learn about moving my sexual energy, both as a freedom for myself, that in any moment, if my anger is moving, if my sadness is moving, if I'm sexually aroused, I can just breathe that in and move it through my body and not lose my edge.
Right. And that's what it really is. I mean, and I think Tony Robbins has that edge. And a lot of these really charismatic men know this secret before they hop out on stage.
Right.
They've got their sexual energy amped and they're not afraid to use it.
Right. Plus, if someone's going on a date where it might get physical, they might go home with the person, to not need to, as a man, I don't need to score.
Right. That,
aside from being so much more valuing that person so much, your date, it's also so much more alluring. What? You mean you don't need me? How dare you not need me? From the woman's perspective, how dare you not need me? She's going to want you that much more just because you have control of your sexual energy.
That's for sure. I'm telling you all about that, people. It's true.
And one of the things I love to say to people is, we'll get together. And it's like, oh, well, what are we going to do? Well, we may do a lot, but you don't get all of me.
You can have me, you just can't have all of me.
It's like a good cliffhanger.
It is. It totally is.
And women love cliffhangers.
Oh, yeah.
It's that 150 pages of build-up before the taking in the romance novels.
Yeah, and then at dinner, whatever, if we get to talking about that, and well, what did you mean by that? It's like, I meant it. You don't get all of me.
That's right.
If you were thinking you were getting me in bed tonight, you might get some of me, but you're not getting all of me. That's a shock to some women to think that I'm not aiming for home base.
Hang on a second. Let me tell you that's not a shock. Let me tell you what that is for women.
What is that?
Oh, my God.
Wow.
That's like hot.
Can I have a caller call in and confirm that?
That's right. If there's somebody listening out there, would you please call in and tell Joshua how incredibly hot that is, or you can throw a comment up on my Facebook. Our number is 1-877-230-3062. That's 877-230-3062. You can call in anytime during our show, but that would make Josh so happy to find out that that's so incredibly hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would like that a lot. And we like it when he's happy.
Mm-hmm. So this particular emailer is wondering, when he's done, should he ejaculate or should he hold it? And I would say if he can hold it and continue to use the mastery skills of the way to use the breath throughout the day, if he gets to a place where he's just feeling urgency, if he can use his breath to move his energy and take the ejaculation mastery one step further to mastering his sexual energy, a whole world opens up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I know that. And being around men that practice this art form is so incredibly cool, ladies. Really, if you're listening and saying that you validate your sexiness by his ejaculation, there's a lot more out there to be had. And I know a lot of women, certainly I felt that way in the very beginning of this, like, well, but if he's not climaxing, then there must be something wrong with me. That type of thing. And, so that's really sad that our entire, even though as women we complain that everything is Vajra driven,
right,
all about the Vajra, and yet then that's what we aspire to, proving our sexual prowess as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that we need to change that a little bit. So that's that question. I have another one here. I'm having a real issue with my husband and I don't know how to deal with it. By all accounts, we have a great sex life and we're open about sexual fantasies, etc. The issue I'm having concerns frequency, and I'm sure you've heard this countless times. Yes.
Plenty of times.
Yes. He'd like it every night, and I'm just not wired that way. Now, that doesn't mean I don't enjoy sex. It's just there are other things that occupy my mind. This is causing conflict. He brings it up constantly, and I end up feeling guilty and badgered.
That's a tough place to be in.
Guilty and badgered?
Guilty and badgered, and the place of a male in urgency.
Well, and we kind of addressed this a little bit just...
A male being controlled by his sexual energy.
Right.
I mean, I would venture to say that I was as manic as any man in the world up until I really started mastering control, really starting to be able to move the energy. So from two perspectives, for her husband to arrive at the place where he has an incredible power. He has a sex drive that drives him to be this way. If he can harness that, here's the dichotomy for me. If he can harness his sexual energy and collect it, she may want it every night because he'll be so arousing.
That's right. See, yes, I mean, this is a multi-phased situation here because, one, most men that need it every night are actually trying to medicate themselves too.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, they've got this sex drive and they're used to masturbating to knock themselves out.
Right, right.
And so consequently, they need it every night because they need the medication.
I can definitely identify
right?
with that.
Yeah.
When I get stressed, I'm not a very good organizational person, and if I have a day at home to organize and clean house, forget it. It just literally, my brain is wired in such a way that the tension builds up in my brain, and the only way to relieve that in the past has been ejaculation. It's been to sexually move that energy.
Right.
So if a person's been going through their day, stressing out, being at their job, they come home, they need a tension release.
Right. And women get that. And so it doesn't really feel like you want to make love to us. It feels like you want to get off in us instead of masturbating.
That's no fun.
Get medicated. And let me tell you,
she does not want that because that's like poison.
That's a turnoff. This is why 58% of women would rather go shopping than have sex.
Yeah.
Not because they don't want sex.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want the sex they're having.
They just don't want to be a receptacle.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And there are times when it's perfectly okay to tell your partner, hey, baby, come on, I'm not there, but you have a party.
Right.
And most women are generous that way to a point. But if it's, kind of like it's just going to be that way all the time.
If it's an every night servicing, the most challenging thing to be told as a man is, you got a hand. There's the bathroom.
I know.
Oh.
And
I've used that line.
And that's
Oh.
that's wound.
Except I wouldn't send you to the bathroom. I'd want to watch. But
right. Well, that's exciting in itself. It's an abandonment of each other. Yeah, I have to take a moment.
He's having a moment.
Oh, man. We could take a break.
I don't flush red out of embarrassment. I flush red out of anticipation. I'm perspiring. And I love it.
Oh, yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, should we go to a commercial break so you can have a moment there? Are you okay?
Gather, collect yourself.
I've learned to breathe and manage my energy. So for a man to be able to take that and realize, I'm doing this because I have tension. I'm doing this because I have stress. And to be able to say that. And to be able to breathe, run around, do some exercise. And men, you all can agree with me, exercise does nothing to reduce our libido. What it does is it exercises the adrenal stress that makes our libido want to have stress-reducing sex. So that when we do come back to our lover, she sees us sweaty and our muscles engorged with blood.
Ooh,
and we jump in the shower and we come out glistening and masculine and warrior without the stress.
Nice.
Now if you learn the other aspects of how to touch her in passing, how to adore her, how to have gratitude for her and all women, she will want you probably more often than you're available for.
Well, that is true, because once you actually, when a woman is turned on, once a woman is living in arousal and she's not living at a -10, she's idling at about a 60 or 80, she will definitely wear her partner out in almost any case.
Yeah.
And enjoying it, not feeling, guilty. So what I want to say, everybody is wired, they say wired differently. The reason most women aren't hot for sex all the time is because, like I said, we're idling at a -10. Our jobs are stressful. Our lives are stressful. We're trying to do a million things. Our partners aren't understanding what we need to be to turned on. It's not just the foreplay. It's the always play.
Constant.
I mean, it's always play.
It's how you walk through the door and take a deep breath.
But I mean, it starts in the morning.
Absolutely.
And it starts with, a text or an email or a phone call or things like that. It's how you say, it's the pillow talk. It's all that. Keeping her in that anticipation. You're the romance novel, the 150 pages of buildup.
Right.
You're keeping her at a 60 and 80. It does take effort.
It takes effort, but it's fun. Once you start, once that steam engine starts rolling down the track, it is fun to keep feeding it.
There you go. So to answer this question, what do we do? Well, we could get her husband some education, and so that he would understand what we were talking about, that probably this wanting it every night, part of it has to do with the stress component.
Mm-hmm.
And we could, as a couple, get some communication going there, because I've had these questions, of course, all the time. And I come to find out, even though men say they want it every night, I've put this to the challenge, right? I remember, starting off with a new lover, and he was like, oh my God, you're a sex expert. This is going to be so much fun. Because, well, how often do you like sex? And I'm like, twice a day. And he's like, you are kidding me. I said, well, maybe 4. But I haven't found anybody that can keep up with
4
that.
times a day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's looking at me like, what? I'm like, yeah, can you keep up with that? Because, I don't know. He's like, every day? I'm like, yeah, maybe 5. I don't know.
Maybe 5.
Maybe 8. 8 would be really cool.
That you'd have to both work from the house.
Right. Well, and I said, yeah, and I did. I was in a position to support him at the time. And I said, so your whole life, he's in his mid-30s. And he says, my whole life I've been waiting for a woman like you. And I'm like, well, all right, let's get with it, babe. And he didn't last 2 weeks.
Right. He was burned out, fried.
Exactly. Totally, completely just destroyed.
Wow.
And he's like, wow, well, okay, so how about twice a day? And I'm like, really? Oh, okay. All right, if we have to.
All right.
No. That was another 2 or 3 weeks, and
he lasted 2 weeks like that.
And so then he's like, well, how about once a day? And I'm like, once a day? Well,
I thought you said you really wanted a lot.
I know. Well, okay, once a day, and that was a few months,
right?
And the reality is, men can't keep up with a woman that is
Well, I think of, the Wildlife Channel when they talk about
Go to the
when the herd of elk are in rut and the dominant male is fighting off would-be competitive suitors and at the same time mating with every one of the cows in his herd as often as he can. And what ends up happening is they lose calcium and they end up losing the fights because they're not eating and they're losing calcium. Their bodies become acidic and they eventually succumb to disease or fight.
Right.
And so it's kind
burn
of
out.
the male body, I guess, from antiquity is designed to be disposable. We wear ourselves out.
There we go. Now, granted, and he was a beginning practicing of ejaculation mastery.
Okay.
So he probably would have done much better had he been a seasoned, had he been a hardcore ejaculation mastery proponent, he probably would have done better.
Right.
But, so I say to women, look, ladies, your man wants sex every single night. He thinks he wants sex every single day. I pose you to the challenge. I say take him. Morning and night, just do it.
Take him to the challenge.
That's what, see what happens.
He will break.
And the other great thing about that is that you might find that having sex that often, now you're starting to idle at a 40, 50, 60. Now
you're anticipating it, you're thinking about it.
If he's tragic in bed, then he needs some education.
Okay, that's not acceptable.
Right, but I think that really, when I really query couples that talk to me like this, remember there's 40 million sexless couples in the United States. A lot of guilt, a lot of blame, a lot of feeling crappy about each other. Most women think a man wants it every day, and most men want it every day if they're stressed or they're not getting as much sex as they want.
Mm-hmm.
Now, really, when I've negotiated these things between couples, I find out the man would be great twice a week.
Just knowing when he's going to get it. The urgency of not getting it.
Right. Fuels that, oh my God,
urgency.
Oh my God. Right, exactly. And so, when the woman finds out, oh, wow, really? Twice a week? And he's like, well, yeah, that'd be like great. Because they're only having sex once a month at this point.
Right. It's, and it's the 2-minute wonder.
Right. So then she's like, oh, okay, well, I can do twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this little nirvana that happens.
Right.
But, what I'm thinking is that it's just sad to me in a way because people think of sex as one way. And that is, and we're talking, we have the 5 levels of sexual mastery, the book that we're working on and the, our framework of learning Tantra and learning about sexuality. Most people are only having sex in level 1 or level 2. And that is, it's so routine. It's, I touch you, I touch your good bits, or you touch my good bits. My good bits. You learn to get me off quickly, then I let you have your thing, we're done. Whatever.
Right. Just tension release.
Boring.
Versus.
I'm sorry, guys. It's boring.
It's boring. I mean, knowing what I know, I was never really into just the, quick, let's go to bed thing. It's always about building up and tantalizing and building heat. Add the ejaculation mastery and the breathing techniques to that, and it is so fun just to work with each other, just to caress and let any part of the body be as effective in stimulating or creating orgasm as the naughty bits.
Well, they're not naughty bits. They're
the lovely bits.
The lovely bits, exactly.
The lovely bits.
And that's very true. If your sex is one, you think of sex as one thing, you're not going to go far with it. You have to think of sexuality as a whole different thing. Lots of different. That way you can connect 2 or 3 times a day. You're not rutting. You're just not doing the rut thing.
Right.
We're going to go ahead and take a short break here, and we'll be back with more interesting discussions in just a moment.
Is your sex life non-existent? Do sexual dysfunctions leave you soft? Is internet porn getting more than you are? Or are you paying more attention to porn than your partner? Have you tried talk therapy and it got you nowhere? You are not alone. You can be freed from sexual shame, guilt, and dissatisfaction. A visit to the Tantra teacher is in order. Call now and mention you heard the Tantra teacher on the radio and get a very special offer. Stop waiting for a miracle and call right now. 206-276-2735. Phone consultations or in person will get you the information you need to be successful in your love life. But you have to call now. 206-276-2735. Stop making excuses. Call the Tantra teacher. 206-276-2735.
Did you know that you can rate this show on iTunes? The show you're listening to right now. It's true. You can leave your thoughts about the show, the topic, the guest. You can even leave a suggestion. Then, before you leave, rate the show. The hosts love hearing from you, so next time you download this show from iTunes, leave your thoughts and rate the show for the host and for others.
Are you one of the 40 million sexless couples in the U.S.? Are you wondering why having sex leaves you feeling lonely? Are you suffering from the myths of sexual dysfunction? Do you know in your heart that there has to be more than what you're currently getting out of making love? To rid yourself of sexual ignorance, get more out of your lovemaking, and find out more about spiritual sexual connection, then you need to check out www.thetantrateacher.com to receive your free copy of the ebook called Secrets of the Tantra Teacher. Don't suffer another minute without the sexual loving and ecstatic bliss you were born to receive. Get to www.thetantrateacher.com right now. That's www.thetantrateacher.com.
Remember, you can podcast or download any or all of the shows right here on contacttalkradio.com by visiting each of your favorite hosts' page.
Hello, everybody. We were a little taking a moment there because we were playing with our microphones.
Nothing was wrong with them. We were just playing.
What happens? Yeah, what happens on the break during the radio show?
I'll make sure to get plenty of sanitizer.
Yeah, this is so funny. Okay, before we were talking about ejaculation mastery and how people are having sex and the 5 levels of sexual mastery. I'm gonna change it up a little bit for the second half, and of course we're gonna talk about these other things over and over again because really people have a lot of questions. And speaking of questions, you can always call 877-230-3062, 230-3062, anytime you want, even if it's not on the subject that we're talking about, and it might be a spiritual discussion. Doesn't matter. Whatever floats your boat.
We're open to all questions.
Right. And you can always email me as well, like these people have done. And that's a great way. You know, I charge money for private sessions. And, wow, emailing me with your questions that I'm going to answer for free is a pretty cool way. And lots of other people have your question, trust me. Even if it's strange. It's probably been asked before.
Most people start a question by saying, this is probably stupid. I know this is really simple, but please, the simplest question is the question that everybody needs an answer to.
Well, those 87% of the females that you talked about the first half.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Or the whole thing of saying, I know this is going to sound weird. It's like, trust me, at this point,
nothing sounds
there's pretty
weird.
well nothing weird out there for me anymore. What I want to talk about is relationships. And this is a question that keeps coming up for me recently, and this is this whole monogamy, poly, open thing.
Ooh.
I mean, we're in a society today where in monogamous relationship, I think it's 72% of men cheat on their partners.
Ouch.
61% divorce rate, porn addiction highest ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so this leads me to start a thing. We need to ask questions. We need to ask questions about relationship and status and that type of thing. Now, I am not an advocate of any one particular style. Whether it's so, let's define monogamy. The definition of monogamy is actually one partner ever in your whole life.
Right.
Well, who the heck is that?
No.
I mean, really, who has been? I mean, I'm sure maybe you're out there. I got to adjust something here.
That would mean from the first moments of puberty and the first girlfriend we ever had, we would actually marry that person and be with them for the rest of our lives.
Right, exactly.
Ouch.
Now, some people have done that. And, you know, maybe monogamy happened. I don't know. I mean, monogamy doesn't happen often because, I mean, does that mean then if you're ejaculating to porn, you're still monogamous?
A lot of women feel like when they catch or know their man is using porn, they feel like they're being cheated on.
They do, and they definitely do, because, we talked about this, because basically you're not using something that looks like her, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
if you're going to get caught doing porn, you need to make sure that the woman
looks like her.
Looks like her.
Yeah.
That's your only plausible place to not get into a super lot of trouble. But so this theory of monogamy, and it comes from that. I can understand it from a perspective of, you have children and that kind of stuff, and you're looking for the illusion of safety, the illusion of security, these type, and I call them illusions because
with
61% divorce rate.
The safety is gone.
Right, exactly. And then there's the whole poly thing. Now, polyamory. This is the definition of more than one loves. And my God, the polyamory community is as varied in what they do as anything else in the world. So many definitions
to that.
There are still polyamory that are doing actual dual monogamy. They have like two partners.
and that's what they keep.
And so a dual monogamy, but somehow it's considered polyamory. I'm not certain about that.
Allows them a little bit of variety.
Then there's, people that do triads and they don't break from their triad. So that's, kind of a...
And do those other partners get to try other people, or are they monogamous because they're just with one of the triads?
I have no idea. See,
many definitions.
Right. And then there's that whole, we're poly, so we're lovers, but I've got 6 other lovers. And, when I go on conferences, I take up lovers around the side too. That's just not monogamy.
That's just an open relationship.
Well, is it an open relationship, or is it just having lovers?
Is that dating? Is that sleeping around? Is that having a lifestyle with many lovers? What in the world do we call that?
I don't know. And so I get asked these questions all the time. What is this? What do I do? What, people are always asking me what, I don't know why. Why do people always ask me what I'm doing?
They assume you're the expert on everything.
Well, not everything.
Wow.
Authority. I am a sexual intimacy authority.
Right.
Like the police.
Yeah. So I would say that it is really time to start talking. The biggest thing that I love about the poly people that I know in the poly community is that the communication level is so much better than monogamy people's level of communication.
And there's a distinct difference between someone who says, I'm interested or I am poly, but they're not actually participating in the level of communication. They're just saying, I want to have more than one relationship than the person they're married with. And then there's the people that really sign up.
Well, there's
show
swingers
up.
too. And then there's the swingers.
Yeah.
Those are the married people or the people that are coupled that go
to parties and play with each other.
Right.
So,
and I'm sure, by the way, out there, if you're out there and somehow I'm the most politically inept person on the planet. You got to know that. So if I'm messing this up somehow and I'm insulting you, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, there's all range of personalities within each one of these communities. So within the swingers community, there are people who are exceptionally respectful. Energetically, the level that they're at is really caring for each other. They're really thinking about the feelings, emotions, health, and safety of their partners. And then there's some people that walk into an arena and they're just looking to dog around. And so in any one of these, in a monogamous relationship, there are people that dog around and there are people that care about their relationship.
Right. So, what are the benefits of all this? What do we need to start doing in our relationships? My goal, people ask me, okay, what am I doing? What do I want to do? My idea of a great relationship is what I call a living relationship.
A living relationship.
Living.
Tell me about that.
Well, most relationships are stagnant because you've stuck a label on them. Monogamy, poly, swinging, whatever.
Right.
You've stuck the label on them, and then you just put it in the box and you go do it or don't do it. And in some instances, if you're poly and you actually have to go, you feel like if you're not with somebody else, you need to go find somebody else because you're poly.
Of course.
So I think that sometimes when we put these particular labels on it, we stop actually considering where we are in the moment of our relationship.
Right. So someone who's thinking that they have to go find something else is actually neglecting an opportunity where it's a quiet moment in the wonderful world of relationship. And instead of turning to the person they're with and saying, we've got some extra time, we've got extra days out of the week, we have each other to focus on right now.
Then they're off and running and looking. And is it coming from a lack of? The poly community will say, You shouldn't believe that one person can fulfill everything you need in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, that's probably true. On the same token, the commitment of being with one person and working on all your crap has honor and integrity as well.
Right. So again, are you running away from something or moving towards something?
Well,
so if somebody's running away from their emotions and their emotional spiritual homework, or if they're, like we were in the earlier conversation in the show, if they're just needing a lot of sex because they're not managing their stress and they're not mastering sexuality, and they need more than one partner because they're trying to mitigate that issue.
Right.
They're going to run into the same relationship challenges again and again.
Yeah. So I just keep thinking about this, a living relationship. So in my perfect utopian world, I would be able to negotiate and communicate with my partner or partners, if that were the case, where I was in that space, where I was in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I was super busy in my life and really having one partner was about all I could handle.
Right.
You know? But, okay, now comes to a place in my life where, you know, things are not so busy and, you know, life is cool and groovy and I'm vacationing a lot. And then it's like, maybe I could have another partner. Maybe I'd like another partner.
Mm-hmm.
And negotiating that type of now I'm feeling more open to explore. And then maybe not. Or, you know, so I mean, I think that's really kind of where it is. I mean, clearly we're designed to be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we want to be in that. And even if we're only wanting to be in a relationship for 15 or 20 minutes, because we're too afraid, we're too afraid to be more than that because we're going to get stuck.
Right.
See, that's what people are afraid of, right?
Well, getting
to a relationship because they're
stuck,
going to get
not
stuck.
communicating clearly, you know. I mean, codependency is I need to satisfy your needs and subjugate my own because I need to be a chameleon to your reality. And then if I don't have approval, if you're upset, I have to continue to adapt. And, you know, learning how to get through that reality and really present who I am and what I want, both is clear in the relationship, but much more attractive as a man to compassionately really say what you want. You know, they say, well, jerks get all the good women and you know, the wusses lose. And, well, yeah. And,
well, yeah.
and a man doesn't have to be a jerk to be attractive to a woman.
No.
A man has to know his mission, his desires, and how to communicate with them. We have gotten away with a lot as men in not communicating, not being accountable to communicating.
And then just getting angry and resentful.
Right.
And feeling like
We go into our man cave and we have to, you know, I mean, I think it's important for a man to get away and have his own space, whether it's meditating in the workshop or whatever, but being accountable to what you really want. And if you have fear around communicating something in a relationship, step up and bring it. Your woman, your wife, your partner, your lover, your beloved may freak out, but will be in much more gratitude for your truth.
Yeah.
Than for not being present on a continuum and being edgy and needing sexual release intimacy because you're not clear and present in the relationship.
Very, very true.
So is that with assertiveness then? To be more assertive with what you want to convey to your
assertive is being
person?
Clear. We think of assertive in our society as being forceful, but the real definition of assertive is being present and accountable.
Yeah.
And not being
claiming your truth.
Yeah, not being passive, not being aggressive, but claiming your truth and stepping up for your own truth and not having to get upset to present it.
Now, that said, the last time I talked about honesty and truth and stuff, I got a plethora of emails from women that said, well, great, thanks, because now we were walking down the street and my husband said, wow, I'd like to bang her. Okay, you know, I'm just being in my truth.
That's not necessarily what we're talking about.
That's uncool. Okay. It may be your truth in that moment, but understand that she's going to have her truth in that moment too, and that's going to be...
And she may say, good, honey, why don't you go try to find that?
That's right.
Because you're not getting any here tonight.
Exactly. So the truth is okay. You know, we are all visual, and when people say men are visual, all women are visual too. I love the story of the woman who was having sex with her husband, and she was on top, and she says to me, you know, so here I am, I'm on top of my husband. He's a beautiful man. But all of a sudden, my eye catches a magazine laying on the nightstand, and it's I think it was surfboard. It was, you know, surfing guys, or no, it was skater guys.
Right.
But there was this hot skater guy with his shirt off, you know, probably 19, 20
Ryan
or whatever.
Sheckler.
Those guys are pretty ripped.
Right. And he's, and I think that's who
Ryan Sheckler, yeah.
and he's right there on the cover, and she finds herself looking at it while she's having sex with her husband. And he finally,
Sweet.
And he finally goes, What are you looking at? And she goes, oh, nothing. And he looks over and he grabs the magazine. He goes, you're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. Anyway, I told her, just put it on his chest. You don't have to look over there.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, women are just as visual. And so, your truth is different, or honesty is different than authenticity. And, you do need to be accountable for what's coming out of your mouth and knowing some of the repercussions. And having a conversation where you sit down and want to talk to your partner honestly and openly without hurting people. I mean, you don't want to really... Things hurt when you're authentic. There are things that are hurtful, but you don't need to go out of your way to do it. But I want you guys, we have about 5 minutes left. I'd really like people that are hearing me, and you guys are all over the world at this point, and thanks for all those phone calls and emails that I get saying how this show is helping you, transforming your lives, and giving you questions and that type of thing. I want you to consider, in your relationship, what box you're in, why you're in that box. Is that a fear-driven box? I got to hang on to this person, so I live in this monogamous situation, even though, wow, I don't think I'm monogamous. I mean, I finally came to the conclusion that my monogamous cheating relationships were just not working well for me.
They weren't?
No, they really weren't.
Okay.
I was just like, wait a minute. And looked at the whole poly world and not sure that worked either. But really, to me, I know that I don't want to be in a box. I don't want to be in an exclusive relationship that is labeled one thing, whether it's poly, whether it's monogamy, whatever it is, labeled one thing and kept that way for eternity. That just feels...
People grow in transition, and
right.
ultimately, if we're actually communicating, we grow in transition together.
Right. But I want a relationship.
Right.
Because I am definitely, like most people, interested in sharing and caring and being in communion with this beautiful art form that I possess with somebody. And it would be a shame to not be. I am in relationship with myself, of course. I am my soulmate. We are all our own soulmates and best lovers.
She rocks, but she can only do so much for you.
And so I would like you guys to question this and not be too afraid of taking those questions, at least to yourself. And we're down to the 3-minute mark. Josh, any wrap up here?
Well, one thought of what I've done with the male, wow, she's hot walking down the street thing is if I'm holding, my partner's hand and I'm walking down the street and my eye or both catch the vision of someone else whose beauty just captivates me, I go back to my breathing techniques and my ejaculation mastery. I mean, honestly, to catch the glimpse, and I close my eyes and I breathe in deep and I look forward. I have the moment, but I'm looking and I'm breathing and I'm moving the energy through my body rather than having it get stuck.
Right, and start obsessing about what it was.
Right, because really I'm in control and in command of my sexual energy.
That's a hot thing. I'm sorry that nobody called in, but I'll pretend I'm calling it. Josh,
thank you.
That is so incredible.
For my partner, I mean, I've been walking and had my partner witness me see someone. She always notices when I stop to take a deep breath. And I close my eyes. I may even squeeze her hand a little bit. So no matter what happens to me from another woman walking down the street, my interest is my integrity.
Yeah. And there's an even hotter thing, integrity, and we'll keep talking about that as well. In the meantime, we have Tantra for Lesbians on Saturday. That's a new class.
I'm not allowed to be at that class.
He can't be at that class.
I can't help with that.
And that's on Saturday.
Not even a drag.
And if you're no. And if you're out there and that sounds interesting to you, get to my website under workshops and hook up to that. And of course, lots of classes going on, and we're fast at work on our ebooks and our men's sexual mastery products that we're working on right now. As always, the team is amazing. I have some amazing men and women working with me right now, and I'm very excited about all of that and the things that we're accomplishing. We're looking at an iPhone app.
Nice.
Ooh.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, baby. But I'm not telling you what it's about yet. You'll just have to.
Is it kind of like that one where you're playing the flute one?
You can have me, but you can't have all of me.
Oh.
Wow.
So
using my words against me.
I thank you guys all very much for joining us, and without you, we are not possible. And just, tell all your friends about us. Get over there, get on the website, get signed up, and see what kind of products are out there. And just go out and, hey, how about some random acts of love out there today?
Mm-hmm.
Turn to somebody, tell them you love them, and see what happens. Yeah, I love you, Nate. I love you, Josh.
I love you, Tanya.
I love you guys.
I love you, Nate.
And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.